There are times when an opportunity presents itself, or a request is made, or something like that, in which no is the appropriate response. Being able to say no to situations, to people. Sometimes that's the right thing to do, and sometimes we have a lot of trouble with that. And if we know that we have trouble saying no, then we are going to avoid all kinds of situations, all kinds of opportunities. It's like, I can't afford to say no. And so I'm not even going to put myself out there where I might need to say no and I can't. So, looking at those ways in which you feel that you can't afford to say no, when that doesn't feel like an option, then we want to clear that up. So, we're going to do some tapping to clear the stress that comes up when we think about things like this. So tap right tap, repeat back what I say, and please take full responsibility for your own well being. Even though I can't afford to say no, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I can't afford to say no, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I'm afraid that I can't afford to say no, I'd get in too much trouble. I just don't have that option. And since I can't say no, I block myself off from all kinds of opportunities just to protect myself from those places. And even though I'm afraid, I can't afford to say no. I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself, and maybe anyone else who might be involved in this feeling. I can't afford to say no. I cannot afford to say no. All this fear that I can't afford to say no. So if an opportunity shows up, or someone makes a request of me, even if part of me says it's not right to say yes, I don't have an option. I can't afford to say no. It would cost me too much. I'd get in too much trouble. I can't handle the consequences of saying no. Part of me says I cannot afford to say no. And so to protect myself, I avoid a lot of situations. Because if there's a chance that a request will be made or an opportunity might show up, and I'll have no choice but to say yes, I need to avoid those places. I need to avoid those situations. If I can't afford to say no, I can't afford to open myself up to opportunities. If I'm required to always say yes, It's too dangerous to be open to opportunities because they're not all going to be right for me. So if I think I can't afford to say no, I don't want to take any chances. And I limit my opportunities. And I choose to reconsider this. Why am I afraid that I can't say no? Why can't I afford to say no? What am I afraid will be the cost? What are the consequences that I'm afraid of? And could I really not handle those? I choose to clear up the misunderstandings that have convinced me that I can't afford to say no. There are opportunities out there that I want to say yes to. It's like that thing about kissing a lot of frogs to find a prince. If I can't afford to say no to the frogs, best to avoid the situation altogether. Even if that means missing out on the prince, whatever that might represent for me. I choose to have those great opportunities. And I can handle the things that show up that I need to say no to. There have been consequences in the past for saying no. And part of me says I can't afford to do that again. Except that I handled that. Maybe not as gracefully as I would have liked, but I'm still here, which is proof that I can afford to say no. It will be okay if I say no. I can handle it, and other people can handle it. And if they're having trouble handling it, I can tell them about tapping. I'm giving myself permission to say no when it's appropriate. And I get to figure that out. I can afford to say no, which means I can afford to be open to opportunities, which increases the possibility of greater success. Allowing myself to move joyfully forward in body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Uh, there will be a lot more wonderful things to say yes to when you know that you have permission to say no. When you know that you can afford that, all kinds of things open up to you. And that benefits you and countless others. So thank you for doing that. And when other stuff gets in the way, I'm here for you. Thanks.